guys, it's Bridget, Therese, and I am live on Facebook. Episode number 5, we are talking about lifestyle nutrition, and I am here today at Whole Foods on Post Oak here in the Galleria area. Just finding a new location to talk to you guys about lifestyle nutrition and what that means. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. For those of you who watched last week all about weights for women, thank you for watching and sharing. If you think somebody will find this valuable, please go ahead and give it a share, and let's spread the good word about lifestyle nutrition, what that means, and eating healthy. So today I want to talk to you guys kind of about the basics of nutrition and what that looks like for you. So there's four basic food groups that we eat. It's carbs, protein, fats, and veggies. So I guess veggies are kind of their own food group, but just to touch real basic on what each of those do and why they're important for our nutrition. Carbs are a source of energy. So when you're eating healthy, you're eating carbs, you want to make sure that you're not eating processed foods. So examples of carbs that are healthy that your body can use are oatmeal, sweet potatoes, quinoa, and various other grains and potatoes, things like that. So you want to avoid breads, anything processed that is in a package. So that's carbs. Carbs provide us energy. Protein provides us with, it helps us build our muscles. So that's important for when you're working out, when you're trying to increase your metabolism. It increases your metabolism and helps you put on muscle. So very important piece to our meal plans and our nutrition programs. So those two together are a fabulous combination. You always want to eat both of those together to create a full balanced meal. On top of that, we also have healthy fats. So healthy fats are avocados, your nuts, and some oils, but I don't do a whole lot of oils. You kind of got to use your discretion as far as oils, like the coconut oils, the olive oils. I tend to do just non-fat veggie sprays when I'm cooking and need an oil source. So that's your fats. And then of course veggies. They're actually, stick with green vegetables, because if you get into some of the other ones, they tend to be more starchy and have other things. So green vegetables like your broccolis, your green beans, things like that are super helpful and actually have a lot of cancer fighting nutrition. So that's the benefit of adding vegetables to it. They're actually called phytochemicals, so it's kind of a funny term, but there are scientific reasons to eat your vegetables. Your mom's just not making that up. There is some truth to that. So to review, you have your carbs, you have your proteins, your healthy fats, and your green vegetables. So those are the basics of nutrition. Super basic. I don't get nerdy. I don't like nerdy, and there's all kinds of scientific reasons for all of those foods, but that is the very fundamentals of it, and that's basically how I want to know it. If you want to get all scientific, watch Aaron Zambrano's show. He'll break it down for you. So eating healthy. So to me there's 3 different levels of healthy eating. The first one, let's break it down into 3 different categories. There's eating, number 1, there's eating anything you want. That is kind of the general, most popular way. There's no restrictions. You eat fast food, you eat fried food, you eat once a day, 3 times a day, however you feel. There's not, you get my drift. Number 2 is healthy eating. People that are making a conscious effort to eat healthy. They're trying to do the right things, eat the right foods. They're careful about what they eat, and they limit unhealthy foods, processed foods, things like that. Then there's level 3, which is eating for your goals. And that's what I would be considered doing right now, is I'm eating for Mexico City. So I'm eating with a very specific purpose in mind. And my diet's structured. I have meals that are exactly pinned out to exact portions, exact times I'm eating. And it's very well thought out, and there's a lot of thought behind it into how I'm eating. So I'm eating for a very specific purpose. Now, in the off season, it's kind of a different story. I do for about 4 years now, I've been eating where that I meal prep, and I cook my meals every Sunday. So I haven't competed in 4 years. Until now is when I'm preparing again for Mexico City. So I haven't competed in 4 years, But during that 4 years, I maintained a healthy diet. So I continued to eat probably 80 to 90% clean, and then enjoyed my going out to eat here and there. I still, to me, some foods I'm not going to eat because they make me feel sick, or they're just really hard on my stomach. So once you start eating clean, fast foods and things like that are going to be a lot less appealing to you. You kind of get used to eating a certain way, and it becomes easier and easier. At first it's difficult and it can be hard to get into that routine, but now for me it's such part of the way I live that I don't have as much of a problem eating clean and be on such a strict diet preparing for Mexico City. So if you are just joining me today, thank you for watching. Today we are talking about nutrition. It's not as fun as working out in the gym, I know. It's the hard part about training, but if you find this valuable and you think somebody might benefit from it, please go ahead and share it, or tag somebody who you think would be interested in learning more about nutrition, the very basic fundamentals of it. So jumping back into it, talking about that break. So let me just tell you a little bit about that break and kind of why I stopped competing and why I'm doing it now. So about 3 years ago is when I moved to Houston, and I moved here with the intentions of competing again right when I got here. And I ended up entering a pageant instead. I ran for Mrs. Texas, and I was the 6th runner-up, which was pretty exciting because I barely moved here. I got sponsored to do it, and it was a lot of fun. And so that I chose to do that instead of compete in another fitness competition. So I did that, and then as many of you know or may know, I went through a divorce, and so for that time period I was going through so many different changes and had a lot of emotional things that I was struggling with, that I didn't go to the gym on a consistent basis. I wasn't working out as much, I wasn't hitting the weights on a regular basis, and I was going through, you know, depression, balancing things out, trying to figure out my life, and I had to let something go. So I couldn't compete. I couldn't put it on as the pressure, because if you've ever competed or worked towards anything that takes up a lot of time, you know how much space it takes in your brain and how much energy it goes toward you spend in that. And I didn't have the capacity to do that. So I had to let exercise go for the time being and focus on getting through my divorce, being a mom to Christian, and just figuring out what my life was going to look like, and redefining who I was in the midst of going through all of this. So it was a pretty trying time. It's probably about 2 years of a process between going through the divorce, deciding to get divorced, and then dealing with getting back up on my feet and finding my place and going through that personal growth process. So it took a lot out of me, but the one thing that I tried to do was maintain my nutrition throughout that whole process. And if you've meal prepped, or if you're in the habit of cooking, you know that if you don't get your meals on Sunday, it throws off your whole week, especially your Mondays. And that's when you end up ordering Uber Eats or running down to the fast food place just to get whatever you can get your hands on. So the one thing that I tried to maintain was eating clean and eating as healthy as possible, even though I knew I couldn't go to the gym or work out. So it was a very difficult time in my life, but I found one thing that I could hold on to and maintain, and it saved me. It saved me from feeling completely guilty about not being able to work out. It probably helps me mentally get through the divorce and get through a lot of the things that I was struggling with. So I had a nice visit with one of my friends last night who's been going through actually breast cancer and dealing with a lot of, first she got divorced, then she got diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was telling me, she's like, I really want to work out, but I can't do anything, so I just eat bad. Like, I just go to drive through Chick-fil-A, or else I just, you know, don't eat. I eat once a day. And she's like, and that's all I want. I just want to eat a cheeseburger. And so we were just talking about it, and I was like, I'm like, don't pressure yourself at this point to do everything all at once. Don't feel like you got to go to the gym and work out for 2 hours a day. You got to eat 6 meals a day, and you got to eat perfect. That's not what I'm trying to promote. I'm trying to promote to find the balance that works for you. So for me, when I was going through my divorce and going through all the issues that I had, eating clean was what I could focus on. So that is what I focused on, and I had to let the guilt go. But I picked one thing that I could do that would keep me level-headed and keep me focused and not let me feel like I completely fell off the bandwagon. So I was talking to her, I'm like, if you can only eat one clean meal a day, let's do it. Let's just find one thing that you can do to start working on right now that you know you can accomplish. I'm like, if you need to order something from like Fit Foods, if that's where you got to start, let's start there. But like, let's start with making better choices about your food and getting to the point where you can start incorporating one step at a time improvements. So a lot of times what people do is they look, okay, I want to get in shape, so I'm going to take everything on all at once. I'm going to start going to the gym every morning at 5 in the morning. I've never woken up at 5 a.m. in my life, but tomorrow I'm gonna go get 6-pack abs, some biceps, and I'm gonna do it all at 5 a.m. and then I'm gonna eat 6 times a day, and it's gonna be amazing. But that's not how it works. That's not achievable. You're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna go through that for a couple days and you're in a big shit. I get 6-pack abs, my arms are still flabby, it's not working. So I was telling her, and my encouragement to you is to, if you're not at that point where you're working out every single day and that's not part of your lifestyle, let's find one thing at a time that you can take and apply it to your life. So for her, it was the meal and just finding one clean meal. I'm like, if your body's not ready for a workout, don't do it. However, she texted me this morning and she said she was going to the gym to go walk on the treadmill, and she texted me after, she's like, I feel amazing. So it kind of happens where you get stuck in this little rut where you lack motivation, you're depressed, you don't feel good, you don't have the energy to do anything, so you don't go work out, and then you don't go work out because you don't feel good, and it's kind of this vicious little cycle that goes back and forth where you're just like, I don't feel good, so I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym because I don't feel good. But at that point, it becomes all mental, and you have to just get up, make a decision, and go. So she did it. I'm super proud of her. She felt so much better. She even told me she's a little bit sore from it, and that's awesome. That was perfect for her. It motivated her to start right in one little piece, and she's like, tomorrow I'm going to go to yoga. So find one thing that you can fix and then start working on it. So for me, it was nutrition. I could focus on my nutrition and then gradually work up to something else. So now it's been almost 4 years later, and I'm in a much better state. I have a life that I love, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to bring on another challenge, and that's why I decided to compete again in Mexico City, because I have the capacity to do it, I have the energy, and I feel like I can add a really consistent regimen of working out and making sure that I eat perfect. So that's what I'm doing now. But so for you guys, it's all about finding your balance and finding something that works out for you. So one other thing that I wanted to talk about too, which was enlightening for me when I first got into the fitness industry and started being around all the models and seeing all these beautiful people, like one of the things that was very eye-opening for me, and I hope this is helpful to you, was I always thought that everyone on the cover of magazines looked like that all year long, and they just walked around with 6-pack abs and they were perfect and all this other stuff. But what I came to realize is that there's very specific training that these ladies and guys are doing to be on the cover of a magazine, and they're eating for it. They're treating it like a fitness competition. It's a very strict goal, and they're preparing months for these photo shoots. And to me, that was such a concept. I was like, oh, okay, so people actually have to work hard to look like that, and it's maybe not the way they look every single day. They train for that specific goal in mind. Now, some people, they do walk around like that. Maybe they're paid to, maybe they have sponsorships, and that's just like their lifestyle, and that's cool. That's perfect. And there's not very many of us that can be a model for a living and have shredded abs and, you know, give hugs for money. But some people do. But for me, it was almost a relief to know that, okay, the pressure of looking like that is not as strong anymore. So like, I'm okay if I maintain this level of body fat, or I'm okay if I look like this. For us right now, it's a matter of finding, like, you find what you're happy with. If you're happy with not being shredded, that's okay. A lot of times when you go through a competition or you go through an experience like that, and then you come out of it and your body goes back to normal, it's kind of like a shocker. You feel like you failed. You feel like, oh shoot, I'm fat now. Like, what happened? I'm supposed to look like that all year long. But one of the things that I also learned in fitness competitions is you train very specifically to look like that for one day. For one day, if not even hours. It's down to the freaking science of how to get that shredded and that dried out and depleted for that one day. So it's not a look that's maintainable. It's not something that you're gonna walk around looking like all day long. It's not healthy. So that to me was a huge eye-opener, and I had to find my balance after competing and after doing all these photo shoots and everything. Like, what's right for me? What am I happy with? What am I comfortable with? So, and that's what you need to find. You need to find your balance in what you're comfortable with and what you're happy with. So, and then you got to eat for that. So if I want to stay in, like, I have my own little phases, I call it. When I'm eating 60 to 80% clean, I say my body's juicy and I don't have abs, and I have, you know, I get a little more self-conscious about how I look. So there's juicy Bridget, and then there's lean Bridget, which is what we're working on right now. So, but it's amazing because since my first episode, and eventually I'll show you the before and after pictures, but since episode number 1 to episode today's number 5, I can already see such a significant difference in my body, and I've lost fat in certain areas. My muscles are starting to show more, and it's all because I'm eating for such a specific goal. So my body's very responsive to eating clean. It's very responsive to my intense workouts, and it's kind of crazy to see how how the results come. But I'm already thinking ahead. I'm like, okay, so this, like, how hard is this to maintain? Am I going to want to maintain this after Mexico City? Like, kind of thinking about that ahead of time, because after my shows, I remember, especially my last one, which was the first one I trained with Aaron Zambrano on, as I remember how shredded I was, but then, like, you get immediately bloated. There's a few weird side effects that happen the week after a fitness competition. So your body is recovering and trying to return to normal balance after a show. And so it's kind of messes with your mind because you work so hard to be at that level, and then your body has to find its balance so that you kind of go back into a normal state. But don't ever, how do you say it? Like, you don't ever want to pressure yourself to be at one level the whole time. You got to find what you're comfortable with. You got to find out what works for you and what you're happy with. So, and that's what you eat for. So, to get back on the topic of nutrition, you got to eat for what your goals are for. So if your goal is to lose weight and to put on muscle, then you're going to have to eat specific for that. If your goal is to be happy and just eat whatever you want, then that's fine. But you got to be okay with it, and you got to be okay with the consequences, if you will, that come along with that. So if you're not eating right, don't expect to look like a fitness competitor, or don't expect to look like a model if you're not eating right. And I know that's hard to hear, but when you gotta take responsibility for how you eat, and it's kind of scary, but I've seen it and saw it in a very, very real way how an unhealthy lifestyle can really be damaging and can take your life. And it's extremely heartbreaking to see because it's so preventable. But you don't have to go from like 0 to 100, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. Like, you don't have to eat like me to be at a certain level. You got to find what's right for you. So if eating healthy 2 times a day or 1 time a day is what you can fit in, then do that. Do what works for you. But if you need to kind of find out where you're at, I can help you with that. I'm going to post a link right after this video is over of how you can assess your body and find out where you are. When I first started, I used to keep a journal of all my foods and would log kind of how I ate so that I could go back and have a visual of how healthy I was eating, where I was eating, and what needed to be improved. So if that's what you want to do, that would help. If you want to take a journal and then send it to me, we can go through your foods and I can help you pick out, you know, things that you should stay or things that need to go, and figure out what your goals are for those, for your nutrition. So like I said, you have to eat for what your goals are. But I'm going to post a link so that it's an assessment form. You can write down what you think are your problems in the areas that you need to improve on, and then we can go from there. But like I said earlier, you don't need to take on all of them at one time. You need to find the things that work for you. My sister just jumped on and she asked if I'm at a grocery store. I'm at Whole Foods just down the street from my house today doing my show on nutrition. So if you enjoy this or you find this helpful, please give it a share and spread the love, and hopefully somebody else will find this helpful and be encouraged that they don't have to be 100% on their diet right away. So that's kind of where it's at right now for me. there was something else I wanted to talk to you about in regards to finding your balance, but if y'all have any questions about nutrition, feel free to go ahead and type them. I'll just go ahead and answer some questions as we go along here. But let me just tell you a little bit about what my diet is right now for my very specific goals. So I typically work out in the mornings. I wake up at 5 and I am to the gym by 6, between 6 and 6:30. And so I'll have a pre-workout meal. So that consists of carbs and egg whites, carbs and protein. So I actually make, if you will go back and watch my meal prep video, you'll see the meal prep video where I made all my meals. So I eat before my workout, about 30 minutes before, and then my workout is about an hour to an hour and a half. When I'm done with my workout, I have a post-workout shake. Immediately when I get home, I live like 2 minutes from my gym, so by the time I get home, I have it, and that is orange juice and protein powder, strawberry protein powder. And then I get ready for work, and by the time I get to work, I eat another meal, which is basically the same one. My sister's going crazy with the hearts right now. Thank you, Bernadette. I eat another meal that is the same one as my pre-workout. It's egg whites and oatmeal, and she's so funny. Egg whites and oatmeal, and then that's my post-workout shake, post-workout meal. So those two meals actually have a lot more carbs because they are refueling my body and helping keep me energized for my workouts. So those are my first two meals, and then after that, I'll eat either ground beef and rice, or a very lean ground beef, and then also chicken and rice. Rice for me is just super easy, so that's what I do. I just eat rice and make a big batch of it in my rice maker, and then eat, just divide it up into proteins. Jesse Ortega asked if I can explain macros, and is it just for people starting to improve their nutrition? Macros is a very complicated way of figuring out what you're supposed to eat. I would refer you to Erin Zambrano, who just did a show on macros and talked about how to find the right portions for you. So macros is basically, if you were to break it down, it's basically figuring out the portion sizes for you and how much carbs you should be eating and how much protein and fats. So I actually don't do the science on that. My coach Erin Zambrano does, and he's the one who actually does all the scientific breakdown of the macros and figures out how much I'm supposed to be eating and when. Augusto asked if I eat brown rice or white. I do just stick with brown rice. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit less processed, so I just tend to stick to brown rice. So I'm back to my schedule of my meals. I eat 3 meals at work, and then I'll go into my last meal, which I usually try to mix it up, so by the end of the day I'm usually tired of chicken and rice, so I'll try to eat something else. I've been eating a lot of hard-boiled eggs because that has a healthy source of fat, so I'll eat 3 hard-boiled eggs sometimes for my last meal. So yesterday and the day before, I've been really hungry, so I've actually made it up to 7 meals, which today we tweaked my diet a little bit and added some more almonds. I forgot about the almonds. I do eat almonds with all of my meals that are not workout meals. So I have my before, my pre-workout and post-workout, and then I also have my meals after that. So I eat the meals that are not around my workout. I have a fat to them. I added a fat, and so I eat those on my other meals. And then the end of the day is at the end of the day I try to eat something different just to break it up a little bit. But I am losing my train of thought here. That's kind of how I eat. That's a very, very structured diet. Oh, I was saying I eat 7 meals. So today we added some more almonds. So when I'm preparing for a show and I have very specific goals in mind, I stay in close communication about how I'm feeling with my food, how I'm like, the timing of my meals. So if I wake up at 5 in the morning, by 11 or 12 I'm on my 3rd, almost 4th meal. So I am closely monitoring how fast how soon I get hungry after that, and so if we need to make tweaks and changes along the way. I do have a cheat meal. I do have 1 cheat meal a week, usually just 1, and I usually save that for the weekend because we either have events or different things like that. Now, going out to eat, you can still do that. So let's talk about going out to eat real quick and making better choices in our food. So Chipotle. Chipotle is my favorite place to go. It's fast food and it's relatively healthy. They have brown rice, white rice, your chicken and veggies. So when we go to Chipotle right now, I'm asking them to give me just a half scoop of brown rice because I don't want the whole portion, it's too large. So half a scoop of brown rice, I get the chicken, the fajitas, and the pico de gallo. So this, for those of you who are trying to eat healthy and find alternatives, I highly recommend that. When you go out to eat, you can be specific. IHOP is a great place to go and eat healthy. So here's how I eat at IHOP. I actually had to order IHOP today because I forgot some of my meals at home. So this morning, I ordered we ordered an egg. I ordered an egg white omelet, and this would be considered more of a cheat meal. But this is a way you can eat healthy when you're out to eat. So this is not part of my nutrition plan right now, but I'll tell you how I eat when I go to Chipotle. So, I'm sorry, to IHOP, or just a variety of restaurants. So at IHOP, I will order the egg white omelet. Sometimes I'll add chicken to it, and I'll ask them to cook it dry, no butter, no oil. It's very key because a lot of times you get your food and it's greasy all over it, and it's just kind of, grease is hard in my stomach. I don't know what it is, but it's just hard in my stomach nowadays. And then they also have the great option of whole grain pancakes. So I'll get the whole grain pancakes, and then I have my egg white omelet, and that's a healthy balance. The portion sizes aren't going to be as specific to what I need, so that's why it's kind of a cheat meal, but it is an alternative versus getting the skillet and, you know, a stack of pancakes this big. So that's one option. When you go to Mexican restaurants, I usually get the chicken and beef fajitas, and I ask them again to cook it dry, no butter, no oil. And then if I'm trying to be real good, I'll skip the cheese and skip the sour cream. Now, if it's a cheat meal, then I'll maybe add it and just enjoy it. But that is a good way to eat out at a Mexican restaurant. Other places, you can often order grilled chicken breast and rice as a side, or grilled chicken breast and a potato. Always ask for it to be cooked dry, no butter, no oil. That's a great way to go out to eat, still be social, and keep a relatively clean diet. Let's see, other places, like if you order a salad, ask for the cheese on the side, the dressing on the side. That's a good way to do it. Fast food, I really don't like their salads. I just don't think they're very good. But if you need to do that, instead of ordering a cheeseburger, order a salad. So a lot of it is just making better decisions. And also, like, there's all different levels of healthy. So you got to find your level. For me, like, I used to be not, and I wouldn't ever do artificial sweeteners, and now it's like I do it and they save my life. I'll have Splenda in my oatmeal or in my coffee and things like that. So you got to find what's right for you as far as how extreme you want to take it. You've seen the eat this, not that before, and I saw one the other day, and it kind of pissed me off because it was like, it had a picture of my oatmeal, which is a Quaker Oats oatmeal, and then it had a picture of some tiny little organic that you probably get from here at Whole Foods, and it was like, eat this, not that, and I was like, hey, don't be messing with my Quaker Oats, like, that's my go-to, like, don't tell me I can't have that. You gotta find what's right for you. If somebody wants to buy the tiny little bag of oatmeal and pay $8 for it, that's fine, do it. If that's the level you want to go, if you want to buy everything freaking organic, do it. I don't judge you, that's perfectly fine, and that's amazing that you can do that. If you're just starting out and you're trying to find where you fit in, just start doing one thing at a time. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you gotta, like I said before, find your level of it. Erin reminded me to tell you about the nutrition assessment I am going to offer that you can click on in the link above. I got to post it because I didn't get it in time before I started the show, but the assessment form is for you to kind of figure out where you need to work on your nutrition plans, what you need help with, and kind of break it down for you is to find out, here's my problems, here's where I need to fix, and then those steps to get there. If you have questions, feel free to message me. If you want to send me like your food journal, I'm more than happy to take a look at it. I used to do nutrition coaching with one of my friends back in the day. It was my first little business I started, which was a lot of fun. Stacy's Dietitian, if you ever want to follow her, she posts great recipes and has a lot of good nutrition advice for you to follow there. But just to summarize, find your balance, assess your nutrition, find out where you're at, and then start taking little steps to improve those each day. So don't take it on all at once. That's not achievable. You'll get discouraged and it becomes an impossible task. So find out what you can do to take on one thing at a time, and then work on that, master it, and then add another thing. But most of all, just find what makes you happy, but it's healthy, and then make the best of it and just keep building off of that. I did not start out eating like this. I did not start out looking like this. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes months and years to get used to it, and now it's a part of my lifestyle. So take the time to build up to it and be easy on yourself. Be hard on yourself when you need to, but just continue working towards it and don't give up. So that's going to be a wrap for today, you guys. If you found this valuable, go ahead and share it and tag somebody who you think would find this nutrition talk beneficial. Next week, I am going to be in Minnesota, the frozen tundra, for my son's birthday. So I am going to be, I'm not sure where I'm going to do my show from. I don't know if I'm going to do it from a gym, from my sister's house, or what I'm going to do. But next week, I'm going to have my measurements taken again this week. So let's just talk about what I'm going through to get ready for this show. I've had my struggles already. I've had my slip-ups and things like that. So I will be all transparent. I'll tell you what my measurements are again. We'll see how I'm doing on the muscle building, and we'll go from there. So next week, we'll just do a recap of my show preparations, talk about where I'm at, what I need to do, and if you enjoyed this, if you enjoy following my journey and learning along the way with me, go ahead and share it, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.